Mr. Grinch, you really are.
Hi, thanks for joining us in studio with me today. I am lucky enough to have the entire Roby family of the Roby Company. We're not talking about real estate today. We're talking about the holidays.
We are.
Yep, absolutely.
Hannah, I would love to know what is coming up that you need to tell our viewers about.
So this year I'm in How the Grinch Stole Christmas at the Old Globe in Balboa Park. And it's a really fun show that you can watch. It's an hour and about 17 minutes. And the Grinch is hilarious. It's great for all ages. He makes all the people laugh.
That's awesome. And there's tons of stuff to do in San Diego, but this is almost like, you know, a tradition, a staple, something that every San Diegan should do, at least once.
Yeah, it's been around San Diego for 22 years. Yeah.
Started in 1997 and it has just been a tradition that has grown from then. Lots of, Whoville kids and the colors, the dancing. It's just a very happy time, to add into your holiday.
And there's tons of shows. Hannah, how many shows are you doing?
I'm in 32 shows. There is 70 shows. There's two casts, a pink cast and a red cast, and I'm in the red cast this year.
Hannah, I would love to know your favorite part about being in this show.
I like the people a lot. I love my cast. Everyone's great. I think the people.
Dad, what's your favorite part of the show?
If you go there, the Grinch has a few surprises in store for its patrons. And I think that might be some of my favorite part because, well, that's just kind of who I am.
I love the family, the kids. Like I went to an 11 o'clock show and you had little kids and the Grinch came out and they're all going, and they're just like so excited and you hear the volume, and the little talking is like, oh, he took away Christmas. And it's just like, it's hysterical just listening to the fun and the imagination that goes with this wonderful show.
If you are looking for something to do this holiday season, take the family, take your friends, hang out with the Roby family, and go see the Grinch at the Old Globe through December 29th. Thank you so much for coming in today. It was great talking to you guys.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome. Thank you.
Hi, thanks for joining us. In studio with me today, I have Aaron Heisenfeld with Fathom Realty. Aaron, thanks so much for coming back in.
Pleasure, thanks for having me.
Today we're talking about flipping houses.
Oh yeah.
Give it to me.
Well, it's flipping crazy first and foremost, but basically we're talking about how to find investors that it's actually shockingly easy, and that's what a lot of people aren't aware of. We know that getting a loan for any sort of business, which flipping is certainly a business, is really difficult. Banks typically don't like to sign for it unless it's your primary residence. You can get one for commercial, but you need 20% down, and typically they still want it to be in kind of a livable condition. So we know loans for flip properties to be kind of notoriously difficult, but there's a ton of private financing out there for it. It's usually called hard money. Hard money is the term used to describe non-traditional types of funding. Instead of going to a bank or some other, let's say, government-backed institution, it's private funders. It's a lot of individuals that have plenty of cash flow, that they want those awesome returns that you get off of investing in things like flips, and even some institutions like Sequoia, for example, they're privately owned hedge funds and whatnot that also invest in real estate.
And speaking of hard money, where can a real estate investor find that?
So there's a couple different places. Down here in San Diego County, we have SDCIA, San Diego Creative Investors Association. They meet once a month in Mission Valley. And I gotta tell you, it is easy to find money at these meetings. There's one in LA as well. Talk to 30, 40 people. Tell them you're looking for capital for investing in real estate. You'll probably get 5 to 10 people, and half of those will call you. They'll call you back. And why is that? Because they're making spectacular returns, and 99% of them are savvy. If you have a flip property that's viable and your acquisition price is good enough to where there's pretty much zero risk on their part, even if it's a complete failure, they can still regain that property, sell it, make their money back. It's a very safe investment for them, and that's why they're dying to give you their money.
It's a lot to think about, and if you could leave our viewers with just one more little bit of information when it comes to flipping houses, kind of in summation, what information can you provide?
It's all about the ARV and therefore the acquisition price. If you miss the ARV, the after rehab value, and calculate that incorrectly, you're probably going to lose. And then second, right behind that is that rehab cost. $35 a square foot if you have affordable crews, and things like cracked slabs and roof issues will add lots of dollars to that. Foundation repair is typically $15,000 to $30,000. Roof repair for a typical house is about $15,000 for a brand new roof. And so if you stick to those two things, you'll never lose, but you'll also find out it's really hard to acquire those properties. And my last thing is that if you want to help with real estate in Southern California, call, text, email, or shoot me a smoke signal. I have a sell your house in 2 weeks guaranteed, and I have certain media and advertising things that I do to make that happen.
You heard it here first. If you are thinking about flipping a home, in the process of flipping a home, contact Aaron Heisenfeld with Fathom Realty. I hope you've been taking notes this whole time. This is great information. Thank you so much for coming in again.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Hello, everybody tuning in. We are so lucky to be joined by Rebecca Meyer from Team Sandra and Rebecca. You know, we want to bring the most qualified agents, and we couldn't have anybody better than you here because you've worked in so many facets of real estate. Obviously, now you're a real estate agent, but you've been in title, you've been in escrow, you've been in lending. What is it about real estate that's kept you all these years, and what is it about being a real estate agent now that you love?
So I think this is year 23 probably for me in the industry of real estate. Starting out with wholesale lending, then retail lending, and then escrow and title, and now of course I think this is my end spot, my forever spot, because I can do this till I'm 100, as we know some agents do. I feel like where I'm at now, everything that I've done in the past has put me here and has helped me guide my clients every step of the way, and I can explain to them what escrow is and what title is and about a loan. So being a real estate agent now for a little over a year has been the most fulfilling position in my 23 years of real estate, because I feel like I'm truly helping people get the dream that they have always wanted their entire life. And as everybody knows, whether you're selling a home or buying a home, it is extremely stressful, and I think that helping in that way is very fulfilling to me.
Very nice. And having worked in so many different industries that all relate to real estate, how have they helped mold you into being a better real estate agent?
I feel like I can let them know what the next step of the process is going to be. For instance, I had a client the other day. The title came in and I noticed there was an $89,000 lien on there. So having to talk to our sellers about that and them having no idea, I could explain to them exactly what was going on. And of course it wasn't theirs, it was a common name. So we were able to take it off of title, and I was able to give them the relief to know that that $89,000 lien was not theirs. By me looking over and knowing what I'm looking for on title really helps the situation.
What is it about your business that allows you to work so much through referrals?
Yeah, so I think that Sandra and I get a lot of referrals from past clients because of what we help them with and what we do for them. So whether we have a $350,000 home to a $1 million, $2 million home, we give them all the same service as we would anybody in between. We do high-end photography, we do flyers, we do tons of social media, and just the knowledge that Sandra and I have together as a team.
As always, I gotta say thank you for coming in. I know that you'll be in again next week because you have another property coming up, which Sandra's at right now, I believe.
And Sandra will be here next week with me, so looking forward to that.
Very nice. Well, thank you, and thank you, Sandra, and we will see you guys very soon again.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me again. See you soon.
Thanks for joining us in studio with me today. I have Aaron Heisenfeld with Fathom Realty. Aaron, you have a record-breaking escrow close to talk about today. I'm really excited. Tell us about it.
So I recently had a commercial transaction here in Escondido. It was a commercial transaction for an investment property. And from the date that my client signed the listing documents to the date they got paid was 3 weeks. That was awesome. We ended up with a 2-week all cash escrow, closed with no hassle whatsoever. It was amazing.
3 weeks, how were you able to pull that off?
So mostly the first thing is communication. I communicate with everybody constantly. I let everybody know the dates that are going on in the escrow. This one had a few different deadlines like the earnest money deposit, inspection, contingencies, things of that sort. And that's the first part, is just keeping everybody in the loop. We have transaction coordinators on both sides helping to get all these massive amounts of documentations out. We have escrow officers, title officers, buying and selling agents, and also the city of Escondido. We spoke with them quite a bit to get the necessary documentation in place that was kind of idiosyncratic to this transaction. And then the second way that I was able to help is preparation. I went straight to the city because this property was built in 1961. It had a conditional commercial usage permit, but it was supposed to revert back to R2 at some point in the future. Well, here we are in the future, almost 60 years later, and the city really wants this property to become an R2 zoned property, which is a duplex basically. But that could involve a lot of hassle if you've dealt with cities and permitting. It might take months or years, it might not even ever happen. So I was able to do a ton of research and get all the documentation from the city itself on the actual listing documents so we wouldn't waste any time. The buyers looking at the property knew what they were in for. And turns out it was going to be a really easy transition. The city is also even working with the buyers of the property to make it really easy. So just a lot of preparation and communication to make it happen.
And this is an investment transaction.
Yes.
Tell our viewers what the difference is between an investment transaction and a regular transaction for those who may not know.
Sure. So usually with a residential transaction where somebody's buying a property, passion is the word that leads the whole purchase. They walk in, they want their dream home. It's all about how it looks and feels. An investment property is the polar opposite. It's about dollars and cents, blood and guts. You know, what's it going to sell for? What's it going to cost to fix up? You know, how are you going to profit off of this property?
One last thing, what can people expect when they work with Aaron Heisenfeld?
Well, I love people, and so I love talking to them. I love helping people. I love keeping them informed. And part of that is I'm an awesome communicator. I talk to everybody in the entire transaction all the time. Over the course of an escrow, as I mentioned before, there's escrow officers, title officers, transaction coordinators on both ends. There's myself, there's the other agent, there's all of our clients. And then there's other ancillary parties as well. In this last transaction, the city was a big player in it. And the city of Escondido was awesome, by the way. Really informative, kept in open lines of communication with us, and we were able to close the transaction. So the first thing is I just communicate a lot, and that's so important, especially a difficult escrow that has lots of moving parts. Everybody has to stay in the loop.
If you're looking for somebody to get the job done, Aaron Heisenfeld with Fathom Realty is the man with the plan. Aaron, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me. Thanks for watching.
Have you ever thought about investing into real estate, but either you don't have the money to do it yourself or you don't feel like using your own money? There's great solutions out there for you. I'm Gary Massa with Massa & Associates here at Pacific Sotheby's International Realty, and I'm here with my man Dan Swint with More Financial. We are going to talk a little bit today about what hard money is and how to use it to your benefit, and what are some of the myths that people have about hard money. Dan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
No problem, man. So let's just get right into it. What is hard money, and what are some of the biggest myths that we can bust here today?
I think hard money makes itself a myth. Hard money or private money is just that. It's private investors or passive investors that have money who don't want to actually go out and do the hard work. We're the conduit that provides money to active investors, fix and flippers, or active real estate investors, utilizing their money, not a conventional loan.
Right. What are some of the myths out there that you hear pretty much every day that's really just not true?
Yeah, so the biggest one I think is that hard money is this big scary monster that's going to bleed you dry, or that hard money lenders are loaning to own, right? It's a loan to own program. In other words, they want the property. Not the case at all. It's become very competitive, and it allows people who don't necessarily have the cash flow that they need to utilize other people's money, or OPM,
right?
Leverage that cash to get into properties that they otherwise simply could not get. So qualifications, first off and foremost, conventional lenders, they're not our enemy. We actually work in conjunction with them.
Right.
But when you go to get a conventional loan, you've got 50 different boxes to check, right? And they're looking at the lender more than they're looking at the property. Flip that on its head. Private money lenders are looking at the asset. So if you're interested in investing in real estate, the first thing you've obviously got to find is real estate. So you're looking for a property. You need to find a property that has the right purchase price, a property that you can then rehab. And that's called rehabbing. The aftermarket value or after rehab value of that is ARV. So you've got purchase price, how much it would be worth after you rehab it, what's it going to cost you to do that, and a time frame and plan to accomplish that within generally 12 months.
Okay.
That's it. And if you can bring that to us, we can walk you through it.
And what does the borrower need to bring to the table to be able to qualify for that type of loan?
It completely depends on the property, and I know that sounds like an interesting answer, but again, we're looking at the property. Every single deal, if you will, or opportunity, we look at objectively,
right,
running the facts. And if the property makes sense, ideally, the investor is going to have some money to bring in, but it's not going to be the stereotypical 20% of a $500,000 house. It's going to be far less.
Okay, awesome. So, I mean, again, guys, there's a lot more to this. If you have any other questions, please let us know. Go to my website for a full in-depth view of this entire video here. But again, great opportunity to start investing in real estate with other people's money.
There you go, OPM.
Dan, thanks for joining us. Guys, we'll talk to you soon.
Hi, thanks for joining us. I am in studio today with the fabulous Chris Crozier with Pacific Sotheby's International Realty. Today, Chris is going to be talking to us about why it's important to hire an agent.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great subject because sometimes I feel like the title or the job is a little undervalued and kind of underestimated. We actually do a lot of things for our clients, and it involves a range of things, but I'm going to go over some basics. And one of the major items is actually we get more money for your property. There was a study done in, I think it was 2017, NAR did the study, and it came up with people that sell their homes as FSBOs generally get 30% less than the market value. So that 30% is a huge amount of money. And normally, you know, people are so worried about, you know, saving 6% of commission and things like that. But if you really do the numbers, 6% is nothing compared to 30%. So you want somebody who's going to come in, represent your property, you know, and do it professionally to get you top dollar.
And more than that, I mean, there's so many intricate, complex processes that go into buying, selling a home. Having an agent is so important to navigate those issues.
You got paperwork, you got title reports, you got all these different things that you actually have to read, acknowledge, understand. And if you have questions, you actually have to know what to ask. And if you don't know, you don't know. Like, you know, the best surgeon is going to be the best surgeon, but he's not necessarily going to be the best realtor, right? So you really want to have somebody with the discipline and experience to help you navigate these things.
Now, Chris, if you could tell me, you know, something about your role as an agent, what's important to you?
Well, my major role is basically an advisor. So I'm the subject matter expert, especially in this particular area, not in Florida, not in New York, in San Diego, okay? And so people are coming from all over the country, sometimes internationally, and they're like, what do I do? And so depending on their needs or their questions, I have to tailor, you know, sometimes I get documents and different things like that to help support what I'm sharing with them, but you have to guide them in a way where they understand, because not everybody it might be fluent in English, or you know, some folks might not be as sophisticated and need like super refined answers, but ultimately they want to believe in what they're doing. Also, giving a certain amount of experience, you'll find out that certain agents have, you know, done all kinds of deals different ways, and I always love the tricky ones, right? And so one of the things I wanted to talk to you a little bit about today is the owner financing. It's a unique way to sell a property where maybe a buyer's credit score is not quite right, but they have a fair amount of cash flow and assets, and a seller owns a property free and clear, or maybe just right around free and clear. And they both have to be understanding of the process, and most of the times they're sophisticated enough and had experience in this particular style of transaction that they know what they're doing.
Absolutely. If you are looking to buy or sell with a seasoned professional, contact Chris Crozier with Pacific Sotheby's. He will make sure you have all the info you need. He will make sure that you have a smooth and problem-free transaction. all the way till the end. Chris, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us today. As you may know, Carlsbad, with the beaches, to the theater, to fine dining, to the local taco shops, has so much to offer, and the Carlsbad Village itself is really the heart of Carlsbad. So joining us today is Christine Davis, the Executive Director of the Carlsbad Village Association. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So tell us, how did the Carlsbad Village Association get started, and what is its mission?
Well, what a lot of people don't know is it's been around for decades. So they think it's something new, but it really isn't. It's been here for quite some time. However, in the last 5 years or so, the village has gone through a little bit of a renaissance and has gotten much more vibrant and much more noticed in the media, and just it's just growing. So all of a sudden people are saying, oh, where's the Carlsbad Village Association from? But it's been around for over 4 decades now.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I know that you guys put on so many wonderful events. What are some of your favorites that you put on throughout the year?
We do events all throughout the year. A favorite, our farmers market, our weekly certified organic farmers market. We just celebrated our 25th anniversary just 2 weeks ago. So that was very exciting. We have close to 60 booths from artisan foods, crafts, hot foods, you name it.
Why do you feel the Carlsbad Village is so special and unique and really does draw so many people from all over San Diego County and beyond?
I think because we have 7 miles of pristine beach, and it's within walking distance to the village. It's only 2 blocks from the village. So you can spend the day on the beach, walk into the village, have dinner, have lunch, go to a play. It's walkable. You don't need a car. So you get there, park your car, you never have to get back in the car. And I think also, as you had mentioned, we have everything from taco shops to fine dining, French restaurants, and everything in between. So what's not to love, right?
And I know you and your family live in Carlsbad as well. What do you love most about living in the community here?
I love the fact that I can go out on my deck and I can see a peak of the ocean, and within just minutes I can be there. Now, whether or not I go to the beach or not, I love driving by it. I love knowing it's there. I love seeing the sunset, and I think the weather's fantastic, and we have everything. We're so close to San Diego. Pop up on the coaster and head up to LA. Orange County's right there, so it's just, I feel like we're just like centrally located in the middle of everything perfect.
Well, thank you so much for being here and sharing all of the wonderful things that you do in the community, and I know there'll be more and more with time, so thank you so much for all you do.
Absolutely, and if anyone wants information, we're at carlsbad-village.com. All of our events are listed, and we'd love to have people subscribe to our newsletter and get hooked into what's going on.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Hello everybody and welcome to studio. We are so happy to be joined by Aaron with Fathom Real Estate, and you guys all know Aaron by now because he's all over television and he's all over Southern California helping people both buy and sell real estate. Today we're talking about for sale by owners, the disadvantages. Aaron, I'll let you dive right in. Give us some of those disadvantages for people out there trying to sell their own property.
Well, for one thing, there's only one alleged upside, and that's more money in your pocket. You figure, I'm gonna sell my property myself. I'm a FSBO, F-S-B-O. We call them FSBOs in the biz, right? I'm a FSBO. I'm smarter than all those dumb, useless realtors. And instead of paying them, I'm gonna do the whole transaction myself, all the documentation, all the correspondence, and save $10,000 to $15,000 in Southern California. The disadvantages hugely outweigh that. There's just a litany of things. For one thing, even though a lot of FSBOs think they're not going to pay any agents, they at the very least probably have to pay for a buyer's agent because, again, most buyers are going to want to work with an agent that looks out for their best interest. They're probably going to get less money for the property, They're gonna have poor marketing, poor media. They're gonna shoot photos on their iPhone without proper exposure, without proper post-production. Unlike someone like me, I do spectacular professional photography and videography to represent that property online the best, right? They're gonna do that themselves. If you can't bring in multiple buyers by having that red hot light speed correspondence, and you can't get that multiple counteroffer out to multiple buyers that plays that sales mind game and makes them want to write a higher offer, you're just losing on multiple grounds. There's also legal risks. There's a disproportionately higher amount of lawsuits involved with FSBOs because they don't have a fiduciary licensed by the state that looks out for the legal interests and understands the pitfalls that happen, especially during escrow. And then finally, managing that escrow. It is just an absolute chess match, bloodbath to the death. And those are the main drawbacks.
In your words, how can people avoid some of those disadvantages?
Well, first and foremost, if you can carve out those countless hours per week to do all that correspondence, both during the purchase process, but also escrow for that matter, if you can do spectacular media, if you can have somebody handle all these countless hours of work on your own, awesome, more power to you. And if you want, call me up. I'll do your media for free just to shake your hand and meet you and give you some advice. I won't have you sign a contract or anything. And if you need help, by the way, 90% of FSBOs go to agents anyways, because agents like myself work exceedingly hard for that seller's best interest. But at the end of the day, an agent like myself, I love working with people and helping people. I love being the person that helps to advise them and give them countless pieces of important information. And for that matter, fighting for them in escrows. About 1 out of 3 escrows are brutal in this industry. You need somebody that's gonna call an attorney if needed at no cost to you. You need somebody that's gonna have massive correspondence with escrow and the buyer's agent, in this case of a listing obviously, to make sure that they're lined up legally, they're taking care of the documentations. There's multiple deadlines over the course of an escrow. That loan's only got 21 days to happen. If everything's not lined up, it goes beyond 30 days. Either party can do a notice to perform and force that close or pull out of escrow, and guess what? Deposits get messed up. Maybe the seller can't move when they needed to. Lots of pitfalls can happen. And so somebody like me, a hardworking agent, is here to steer you through that process.
Very nice. Everybody out there, get in touch today because you got a true professional who's been selling and helping people purchase real estate for a really long time, all throughout Southern California for that matter. I want to thank you for coming in studio as always, and I know I will see you again very soon.
Thanks so much, Ty. You're a rock star.
Thank you.